Right, what is up, Pokemon trainers? Today we're going to be talking about who is the best defender in Pokemon Unite. And I got a tier list here, so we're just going to rank all 7 of the defenders. I was thinking 5, 6, it's 7. So we're going to rank all of them and we got these tiers set up here. The best, top tier, pretty good, decent, and not good. And not good is, I've just seen them not really be as impactful for the team. And like, you can get some wins with them as long as you have a good team playing around you. But they usually get beat out by some of the other defenders, and they just have a lower win rate, and they probably need some buffs to make them good, or maybe reworks or something like that. With that being said, some of this will be a little bit of my personal opinion and just from playing defenders. I am a defender main in Pokemon. This is my favorite role. I've been switching into some support now too as well. Been really loving the new Clefable buffs. They've been really fun. So let's just go ahead and get started on this thing. We're gonna start from the bottom up instead of going in order, just to keep it more interesting that way, I feel like. So let's just say the worst one that I feel like right now is probably Trevenant. He has some good moves. He has some good CC, has good pushback, that kind of stuff. But Pain Split definitely needs a buff. I just don't really see him helping his team that much. When I play against other Trevenants, the other defenders that I use, I can usually beat them out pretty easily. As long as my team is doing what they're supposed to do, he can't do what he's supposed to do. And then next would be Greedent. And I think Greedent's a little bit better than Trevenant, but not by much. I don't know what he actually does very well, to be completely honest, but I know that he's harder to kill. He's a big distraction. Those berries or whatever they're called that he drops, those are pretty useful for him. But he's not that great. He's not very, very impactful. And there's not a whole lot I can really say about these two because I don't play them. And every time I see them, they're just... Most of the time when I see them, it's players that aren't really playing with the team, and that kind of hurts their presence as well. I saw a Greedent the other night that was just backcapping the whole game like he was a Talonflame or something. I don't know. It was weird. But anyways, that doesn't really set against him. It just was that specific player. But that moves us up to the next defender. Almost said Guardian. I was thinking about Smite. But that brings us to the next defender, and we'll actually be coming up to this decent tier. And I'm going to put Crustle in that decent tier. And for these first 3, you probably guessed that these were going to be on the bottom, just from their low win rates and how you've probably seen them performing if you've been playing long and been paying attention. But Crustle, I don't know what his moves are called, but the arch wall that he puts up is very useful. He's got some pretty good power behind him. Some good sustainability. He can stay alive a little bit longer, got some good tankiness. But a lot of times your team is not. If you're solo queuing, he just doesn't hit as well. He can't really do his job like he needs to, and he is decent. Like, you're going to get wins with him, and you're gonna have a good time most of the time. But there's just he's decent mostly just because there's Pokemons that I feel are better than him, defenders that are better than him. So that brings us up to the next one. And so this next one, I'm gonna talk a little bit about it for a minute because I was maining him for a couple months, and I really liked him until I got into veteran rank, and I still really like him, don't get me wrong, but it's just like Crustle, there's still some that are just a little bit higher. So we're gonna go up to the pretty good tier. He's gonna be the only one in the decent, pretty good Mamoswine. So I put Mamoswine here, where I thought he was like the best defender for a minute. His early game, man, I meant to look up how you pronounce that.
Swinub.
Okay, so when you are Swinub, I don't really feel like you can do very much. If your lane buddy or your path buddy, if he's not there with you, doing what he's supposed to do, playing with you, and you're not getting your levels, you are not going to have impact on the team, and it is going to take you a very long time to really be able to help your team, and you are going to be behind most of the game. That ice shard and that tackle are useful, but they're not really enough. His late game though, his late game on its own is top tier, but getting to that point is rough, and it can be pretty rough sometimes. And it's kind of like Tyranitar, where like his early game is garbage and his late game's really good. My dog is chewing something up under the desk. Yeah, it's like T-Tar, where his early game is not good, and it takes a while for him to get online, but once he does, he's really hard to deal with. Because of that early game, and because that leveling can be a little bit difficult at times, especially in solo queue, which I pretty much only do, yeah, I put him in pretty good. This might technically should be really good, but I wanted to step up a little bit from, not good, decent, pretty good, the best. Kind of. If it was decent and then straight into really good, then it's kind of, you understand. Okay. So next up, it's Snorlax, and I put Snorlax a little bit ahead of Mamoswine, just because he has so much sustain. In his early game, he doesn't have to worry about much. And yeah, it is true that no matter what defender you pick, if your teammate is not playing with you, it's going to be a rough early game. But some of them have a harder time when they're having to defend by themselves than others. Snorlax is a little bit better than Mamoswine at soloing defense in that lane, and just being able to be annoying to the other team and being able to stay alive at the same time in that early game. When he gets his second ability, which I usually do Heavy Slam, I'm not really even sure if I've ever played with Flail, but when he gets his Heavy Slam and Rest, it's so good. And then you add Block on top of that. It's just really good. And of course, he's not putting out the damage that Icicle Crash and High Horsepower is going to do, but he can also set a lot more stuff up for his team and get people off the goal, and he's still very useful. And I think they're almost the same level for me, but Snorlax is just a little bit more, I don't know if I should say better, but in my opinion, I like to play him more, because that early game, he's more fun. Mamoswine is a lot of fun though, because of his late game. I just got pretty frustrated several games in a row where it took me way too long to become Mamoswine. I was Swinub and then Piloswine. The Piloswine to Mamoswine usually doesn't feel as long, but that being Swinub for too long sucks. Like, you have no health. Oh man. Anyways, I think I said enough on that. The reason I'm so passionate, I guess, about it is just because I really thought he was going to be my main. I really thought like I was going to pretty much only main Mamoswine. Actually, one of the first, I think it was the first video I put up on YouTube, it says, the title says something about me being a Mamoswine main, and I really was, but I've gone back to another main now, which you might already know, but I'll put that at the end of the video because he's actually the top one in my opinion. So the next one we got is Blastoise. And if you played against Blastoise or you play with Blastoise, you understand how impactful he can be on the team, how much damage he can put out. He's another ranged defender, as far as him and Slowbro. and that just adds so much. That ranged autos, which I'll even talk more about here in a minute, that adds so much. I'm not as familiar with Blastoise's moves as either, just because I don't have him unlocked yet. I've played him a few times with the limited trials and stuff, but I don't have him unlocked, so I haven't been able to play with him much. But from what I can tell, he doesn't have amnesia or slack off, so he doesn't have the as much self heal and sustain as Slowbro or the rest like Snorlax has, but he puts out so much damage, and he has I'm just trying to figure out the name of that move. It's Hydro something, but the Hydro Blast, I'm gonna say, I don't think that's right, but the Water Beam move that he has that just shoves you back. That it's almost like Scald, but it pushes you back a lot farther. I think it might have a little bit more range than Scald. It seems like it does, at least. And it does, but it doesn't give you the burn effect. It doesn't give you the burn effect, and it may not slow. I could be wrong about that, but it does do a lot of pushback. It stops you for a little bit, and it does a lot of damage and has a lot of range. You know, his Unite's really good. From what I've heard, both of his move sets are pretty good. There's one that's a little bit better than the other one, but I'm not gonna try to tell you which one it is because I'm not really sure on that one. But yeah, he's good. He's one of the best. He is not the only one that is up in this tier, seeing how we have one more defender left, and Slowbro. And you might have seen this coming, especially if you've seen some of my videos or watched my live streams, which if you're watching this, you probably haven't, because I don't have very many views yet. So yeah, like and subscribe. Come check out my other videos. Let's talk about Slowbro. So Slowbro has ranged autos just like Blastoise, and he can... his early game is just really good. He's got Slack Off, Water Gun. He's got Slack Off and he's got Water Gun, and a Water Gun hits really hard. It's got that little charge up. Does really good damage for a defender for his early game. Slack Off will give you a lot of sustain. You can throw down and lay down in the grass and heal up there. You can go back into your goal and heal up a whole lot. And you don't have to leave lane, and you don't die very much early game as Slowpoke. And then once you get leveled up, you go straight into Slowbro instead of having to go to a second evolution like Mamoswine or even Blastoise. And Slowbro kind of just skips that stage, and you know, obviously he doesn't get his last move yet, but he still feels that level of Slowbro feels stronger than Piloswine or War Turtle. When I first played Slowbro, I used Surf pretty much all the time. I didn't use Scald very much at all. Didn't really realize the impact that it made until watching the Pokemon Unite Rivals that was casted by Spraggles and Chris Heroes, you know, hosted by Nouns Esports. I don't know if you caught any of that. You would have seen there was a lot of people playing Slowbro, a lot of people playing Scaldbro specifically, and usually 9 times out of 10 I'll be running Scaldbro now. There has been one game in this past week that I played with him where I ran Surf, and that was just because there was a lot of people that were coming into the goal that we couldn't stop. Like the other team was playing pretty grouped up and scoring together, and my team wasn't helping defend the goal. So Scald wasn't enough really to stop them from scoring, so I was having to use Surf to kind of push them back. And then to talk a little bit about the difference between amnesia and telekinesis. So telekinesis and amnesia, usually just like with Scald, 9 times out of 10 amnesia, but every now and then there's telekinesis, and telekinesis is when I have a I was gonna say a ranged Pokemon, a ranged attacker, but sometimes even a melee, it could come in handy. But it's just like when my teammate isn't able to kill the opponent quick enough, when I feel like they need like another second to really help them get that kill, to confirm the kill, then I'll use telekinesis so that I can lift them up in the air, hold them in place, and let my team attack them. But most of the time, I'm running in, frontlining, scalding, backing out, amnesia, running back, doing some auto, scalding again, and my team is throwing their attacks, and we're fine. And that's usually the play. But yeah, I really have enjoyed playing Slowbro, playing Scald Bro. It's been really great. When I get my AOS coins up, I will be probably buying Blastoise and running him a good bit and just trying him out. Probably swapping between Slowbro and Blastoise. But you know, at the time of this video, we got Lapras and Goodra coming in. So who knows, maybe one of them will become my top instead of those two. But that's just my opinion on all of this. If you got any other ideas, any other suggestions of where these might need to be, maybe you're a Trevenant main and you think he should be up here, or God forbid up here, let me know in the comments. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. Check me out Mondays 4:30 at this channel, Pokemon Mondays. Watch me defend my way to Masters. See you later. Yeah, like and subscribe. Come check out my other videos. But let me talk to you about Snorlax. Alright, so Snorlax. So let me talk to you about Slowbro, not Snorlax. I just said, oh my goodness. Okay, let me talk to you about Slowbro. Slowbro's got those range attacks. Let me do that whole part over.